What he did to test his wife's loyalty will shock you. Come on, guys, let's find out together. Hey guys, welcome to today's amazing movie that will keep you at the edge of your seat. But before we dive in, don't be in a hurry. Grab a snack that will keep you focused, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more amazing movies from us. The story kicks off with a young lady named Mama, who was seen selling her roadside food. An elderly man who came to buy from her began showering praises on her. Suddenly, her husband Ichaka showed up unexpectedly. He angrily hit the man on the head and tried to pick a fight with him. Out of rage, he threw away Ma's food and chased her inside, yelling that she was his property and no man should come close to her. Later, when Mama tried to return to her market, Ichaka refused to let her go out that day. Back at work, a man came looking for Ichaka to collect his car, which had been in the workshop for over a month. But when Ichaka arrived, he immediately picked a fight with the man, lifting and throwing him to the ground, clearly upset already. That night, Ichaka was sitting in the living room when Mama came in to welcome him back from work. As she was about to go inside, Ichaka called her back and told her to remove her underwear. Mama was shocked, thinking she heard wrong, but he repeated himself. They argued until Mama angrily called him a dog. Ichaka then threatened to report her to the elders, saying she would have to explain why she disobeyed him. Out of fear and frustration, Mama removed her underwear for him to smell. She was deeply hurt and humiliated. Later that night, Ichaka couldn't sleep. He wanted to be with his wife, but she wasn't happy with him. Still, she gave in. The next morning, Ichaka was seen assisting Mama as she hawked her food. A man in a car tried to stop them, but Ichaka insisted they move on. Mama, however, worried that the man might be a customer and persuaded him to wait. When the man tried to get closer to Mama, Ichaka lost his temper again and chased him away. Mama felt so embarrassed and heartbroken. That evening, Ichaka came home from work with some clothes for Mama. When she checked them, they were long gowns. She complained, but Ichaka insisted that was how she should dress, to cover his property. He asked her to wear one so he could see it. To his surprise, it suited her perfectly. Then he asked her to bring him food. The next day at work, Ichaka received a message that made him furious. He rushed home to confront Mama, demanding to know who had messaged her. Mama explained that the person wanted to order food from her, but Ichaka refused to let her go. That night, Mama ran out of the room begging Ichaka to leave her alone, but he wasn't satisfied. She kept running from him in fear. The next day, Ichaka and Mama came down from a keke, and the driver kept staring at Mama's backside. Ichaka noticed and immediately slapped the driver. They almost fought before Ichaka chased him off. Leaving his keke behind, Mama was not happy and quietly went inside after Ichaka ordered her to. That night, Ichaka couldn't sleep, thinking about how to stop other men from coming close to Mama. The next day at Mama's shop, while she was selling food, a customer told her to keep the change. Ichaka, who saw that, got angry, took the money, and forced the man to take it back before chasing him away. Mama felt deeply frustrated. Tired of how he chased all her customers away in the name of protection, Ichaka angrily told her to pack up for the day. But wait, could Ichaka's jealousy be hiding something deeper than love? A day later, Ichaka's mother came to visit. Mama reported everything, how Ichaka had been driving away her customers because of his possessiveness. Inside, his mother advised them both to support and understand each other as partners. That night, Mama went to talk to Ichaka in their room. Although he was angry that she had involved his mother, they eventually talked things out and made peace. The next morning, while the Mama was hawking her food in a wheelbarrow, a speeding car accidentally hit her. The driver quickly offered to take her to the hospital and later drove her home. Before leaving, he asked for her number so he could check on her later, but Mama politely refused, saying her husband would take care of her. That evening, when Ichaka returned home and saw her lying on the couch with bandages on her leg, he was shocked. She explained everything, how the car hit her and how the man brought her home. But instead of sympathy, Ichaka became furious that another man had touched her, taken her to the hospital, and even brought her home. That night, Dan, the man who hit her, couldn't stop thinking about Mama. The next day at the mechanic shop, Ichaka sat lost in thought. His boss asked what was wrong, and Ichaka confessed he was thinking of getting Mama pregnant, so other men would stop chasing her. Later that day, while Mama was selling food, Dan showed up looking for her. She was surprised to see him, and even more shocked to learn that he had found out where she sold her food. After a brief chat, Dan decided to eat from her shop. Moving forward, Dan drove Mama home that night, even though she didn't want him to. He insisted, and she eventually gave in. When they got home, Ichaka was seen helping Ma massage her leg as they chatted and laughed together. The next morning, Ichaka was outside washing clothes when one of their neighbors walked up to him and asked if he wasn't going to celebrate his new car. Ichaka was confused and told her he hadn't bought any car. The woman then revealed she saw someone dropping off his wife the previous night, and they looked happy, chatting and laughing together. Ichaka became furious. He rushed inside and confronted Mama, who was asleep. He demanded to know who brought her home. Out of fear, Mama told him it was Dr. Dan. Ichaka immediately demanded Dan's address. The next day, Ichaka blocked Dan's car as he was about to drive into his compound. He warned him seriously to stay away from his wife. That night, Ichaka sat in the living room while Mama served him dinner, but he refused to eat. He asked her why she didn't want to get pregnant. Mama, surprised, told him it wasn't her fault, that God's time is always the best. After a short argument, Ichaka stood up and left without touching the food. The following morning, Mama was selling food to her customers when Dan arrived. She was surprised to see him again, but this time she told him to leave because her husband wouldn't like it. Instead, Dan offered her $300,000, explaining that his friend was organizing a get-together and needed someone to cook. He wanted her to take the job. Hearing that, Mama brightened up and accepted the offer. Back home, Mama began writing out a list of things she needed to buy for the job. Ichaka noticed and asked what she was doing. Mama explained, but cleverly avoided mentioning that it was for a man's event. Instead, she said it was for a woman to make him feel comfortable. The next morning, as Mama headed out to buy ingredients for the party, Dan saw her and offered to drop her off. That night, Mama finished cooking and sat down with Dan, waiting for the supposed guests to arrive. After over an hour, no one showed up. Worried, Mama asked about them, but Dan kept assuring her that they were on their way. When it got too late, she pressed further. That was when Dan confessed he only wanted to spend time alone with her. Mama was shocked. She stood up to leave, but Dan tried to stop her, pleading for her to stay, saying he had fallen in love with her. Can you imagine? Falling in love with another man's wife. Dan tried to make advances toward her, but Mama managed to escape and ran out. When she got home, anxious and shaken, Ichaka was surprised to see her because she was supposed to spend the night there. Mama quickly lied, saying she was attacked by robbers and had to run home. But instead of showing concern, Ichaka was only worried about his property. A day later, while Mama was getting ready for her daily business, a lady approached her and warned her to stay away from Dan because he was a psycho. The lady claimed she saw Mama leaving his apartment the day before. Mama stood frozen, unsure what to say. That evening, Dan returned home and was shocked to see his ex-girlfriend waiting for him. She was angry that he had dumped her. During their heated conversation, she revealed that she had visited Mama to expose who he really was. Furious, Dan told her to leave his house. The next day, Dan came to apologize to Mama with a bouquet of flowers. Mama, scared that her husband might see him, quickly pulled him aside and begged him to stop disturbing her. She had no interest in him. Dan eventually left, just as Ichaka called for Mama, and she hurried inside. The next morning, a delivery man brought a package from Mama. Surprised, she asked who sent it, but the man said he didn't know. She collected it and went inside to check. Inside was some money and a note from Dan, asking her to get ready because he would be coming to take her out for dinner. Ma was shocked by his boldness and quickly packed everything back. Moments later, she was seen standing outside Dan's gate, angry and waiting for him. When he came down, she returned his gift and told him to stay away from her. Dan, however, told her he would prove that Ichaka didn't really love her. Mama ignored him and left. The next evening, Ichaka was in the room when a message popped up on Mama's phone. Curious, he checked it and saw a man's text saying he missed her. Furious, Ichaka called the number and a man's voice answered. That was all he needed to hear. Ichaka stormed to confront Mama, throwing away the beans she was sorting and demanding to know who it was. Mama admitted it was Dr. Dan. Ichaka, enraged, broke her SIM card into pieces. Mama was heartbroken, knowing all her customers' contacts were lost. The next day, Dan came around again to see Mama. But this time, Ichaka was the one who came out to meet him. They exchanged angry words. As Dan turned to leave, he stopped, looked back at Ichaka, and dropped a shocking offer, $20 million for him to leave Mama. That night, Ichaka could not sleep, as he kept thinking about the money Dan promised to give him if he agreed to leave his wife for him. The next morning, Mama woke up but couldn't find her husband. She called his boss, but he said he hadn't seen Ichaka either. Later that day, while Mama was washing clothes, Dan arrived at her house. She became angry and asked him to leave, but Dan said he didn't come to fight. He brought out his phone and played a voice recording of Ichaka, demanding the money without even thinking twice. Hearing that broke Mama's heart completely. She was shocked and disappointed, and tears rolled down her face as Dan walked away. The following day, Mama was still trying to process what Dan had told her. She couldn't believe that Ichaka would ever think of leaving her. She went to Ichaka's workshop to confront his boss, hoping to find answers, but what she heard there shattered her completely. In pain and tears, she walked away. 2 days later, Dan came back to Ma's house, thinking she would now accept him. But to his surprise, Mama boldly told him to his face that she would never be with him. Furious, Dan left angrily. A week later, Ichaka's boss came to check on Mama. He was surprised when she told him that she would wait for her husband. No matter where he went, she believed he would come back to her. From the look on her face, he knew she meant every word. Weeks later, Mama came outside, and guess what she saw? It was Ichaka and his boss standing right in front of her. Mama walked up to them and gave Ichaka a hot slap, demanding an explanation. Ichaka explained that he only wanted to test her loyalty. He revealed that it was actually his boss who gave him the idea, because he had always been insecure about her. Out of annoyance, Mama asked both of them to leave her house. The next day, while Mama was selling her food, Dan stopped her, trying to talk to her again, but she had already made up her mind not to have anything to do with him. She warned him and left, leaving Dan angry and frustrated because this time he couldn't get what he wanted. When Mama got home, she met Ichaka waiting for her. He immediately apologized, but she was still too upset to forgive him. While they were talking, Dan suddenly arrived, furious that Ichaka had returned, which was not part of their earlier agreement. Both men got into a serious fight. Later that evening, Mama helped Ichaka massage his hand after the fight. When she told him to leave, he began pleading again, begging for forgiveness. He confessed that he had already rented an apartment for both of them with part of the money Dan gave him. Out of the $20 million, he had used only $13 million, leaving $7 million. After much discussion, Mama finally forgave him, and they embraced each other. Back at Dan's house, he sat in deep pain, thinking about everything that happened. He had thought the world revolved around him and that he could always get whatever he wanted. But this time, he was wrong. The moral lesson of this movie is, love built on trust is stronger than money or temptation. Never test the heart of the one who loves you sincerely, because true loyalty cannot be bought, it must be earned. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. Also, subscribe for more fascinating movies from us. Till we meet again, bye!